We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now. Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us this morning. Normally, this would be our Wake Up Wednesday call, and in honor of that, we're going to have a special guest join us this morning. Sheriff Richard Mack, who is the director and one of the founders of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, is going to join us this morning. And the reason why we chose to do this on Wednesday was because it kind of fits in well with our formula of Wake Up Wednesday. Our goal today will be to educate our local listeners and also our county sheriffs with the idea that the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers annual convention will be held here in St. Charles this year on May 31st of this year. And so what we're suggesting and recommending is that our listenership sponsor their sheriff to go, encourage them to participate. It's not a forced option, but it certainly would be one that every sheriff would benefit from. And what we're going to do is encourage our listenership to make sure that either they sponsor their sheriff financially if there's a need to do that, and or that they are educated enough about it to have an intellectual discussion with their given sheriff. Good morning, Sheriff Mack.
Hey, good morning. It's great to be back with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. You've been on our show before, and we appreciate it every time you come. You've got the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association meeting this year right here in St. Charles. So maybe you can kind of give us a little bit of an overview of exactly what that particular program entails.
Well, it's a program to get back to the Constitution. It's a program to keep our oath of office. It's a program to increase and enforce state sovereignty. Let me ask every county attorney in the state of Missouri. Tell me the legal foundation for who is supposed to enforce state sovereignty. Who is supposed to enforce states' rights? Who's supposed to enforce the 10th Amendment? Are we to presume in any way, shape, manner, or form that that's the federal government? And how is it that we have county attorneys and attorney generals in this country that say that the Supremacy Clause grants carte blanche to the federal government, that they trump the states in everything, and that they can do basically whatever they want? If that were the case, then the Constitution would be null and void, and that the Founding Fathers would all be in violation of their own Constitution. It is up to the states to be the check and balance on federal authority. It is up to the states to enforce state sovereignty. It is up to the states, and it's certainly not up to the geographical boundary of Missouri or other states geographically to enforce laws. It's up to the state officials. It's up to the county officials. And the Supreme Court decision that I won when I was a small-town sheriff in Arizona, yes, I had the audacity to sue the federal government. I had the audacity to take them to task and say, you don't have the authority to do these things. And the Supreme Court of the United States sided with me. And so that's another thing that we need to look at. But what we are doing now at our convention is we're making sure that state and local officials know and understand that to enforce the Constitution and to keep our oath of office and to keep the federal government off our backs and off the backs of our citizens and to actually protect the citizens from tyrannical government is absolutely the responsibility and duty of state and local officials. We will prove that. And so thus we have the solution. We have the solution for the Barack Obama tyranny, the federal government tyranny, and I don't care if it's Barack Obama or whoever, I don't care. But right now it's just that it seems to be that he's one of the biggest culprits of the tyranny going across our country, doesn't care about our Constitution, doesn't care about freedom and liberty, promotes more and more bureaucracy and more government, and we're saying that Ronald Reagan had it right. That government isn't the solution to the problem, government is the problem, and we're trying to put government back where it belongs, and we're showing proof positive that the federal government has very limited, discrete, and enumerated powers, and that the states must get involved in that game, or we're going to lose our country. And so there is a peaceful, effective solution for taking back America. We have the proof, and we will show it at this convention. Everyone attending will leave with the proof and knowledge that this is true, and that America is still America. The Constitution is still the supreme law of the land. If we have state and local officials with the guts and the courage and the knowledge to make it so. So that's what our convention is about. It's 1, protecting our citizens. 2, having public officials, especially sheriffs, stand against the incursions of the federal government. Again, we will show the proof. This isn't a bunch of Sheriff Mack opinions. Those are a dime a dozen. We will be showing the proof. And we're not just reaching out to sheriffs this time. We're reaching out to county commissioners, state reps, city councilmen, peace officers. That's why it's called the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. But anybody and everybody in public service is free to come to this.
Well, congratulations on widening the door there, because you know, the truth is your county commissioner and your local city mayor and anyone who's in public service, whether that be a prosecutor, whether that be a judge, all of these people have such a critical effect on our liberty and on our nation, that and on our local community government, that if they're not aware of their duty and responsibility under the Constitution, then, you know, even if the sheriff is, he's up against, you know, a bulwark that he can't possibly work his way through. So I congratulate you on expanding the invitation to not only police and sheriff, but also to anyone in public service, because truthfully, they all matter, they all count, they all affect us in every aspect of our lives, right?
They do, and county attorneys are the one. I'm going to tell you right now. County attorneys right now are the ones we get the least amount of support from, and we'd really like to reach out to them and say, you know what? Why don't you come and see that there really is a lot more going on than what you think. There are a lot more solutions that you can be a part of that really will benefit the people that voted you into office.
Sure. You know, I'd love to see the judiciary attend a conference like this.
Oh, yes. We'd love to have judges, especially local judges.
And prosecutors, because, you know, sometimes I think they get so wrapped up in their job, they lose perspective. You know, they begin to lose the forest because they're wrapped up in the trees.
The county attorney is a prosecutor.
Right. Well, in some cases, it's the city. It's even a city prosecutor, or you know,
we'd love to have them. City attorneys, you bet.
Public defenders. I mean, these folks should all be participating. You know, not only on the prosecutorial side, but on the defense side. I think they'd gather an enormous amount of information as well. Yes,
and we're having constitutional attorneys speak from all over. These are constitutional scholars that are speaking from all over the country. We have.
You mean real ones, not like the one that's in the White House? He calls himself a constitutional professor, but I think his degree is in how to shred it instead of actually how to expound on it.
It's called a dance. It's Trample the Constitution dance. They're really good at that.
There you go.
No, but absolutely. We want also the public to know you're welcome to attend. We cannot do this without we the people. So we the people of Missouri, you are welcome to attend. It does cost for you, and what you're doing is you're allowing the public officials to attend for free.
Got it.
So it's $150 per person or $200 per couple, and you can come as brothers or sisters or friends or whatever. So technically, you bring somebody with you, it's $100 a person, and
sure.
And for what you're going to get there, and especially the banquet Friday night. And again, this is May 31st in St. Charles, Missouri at the Ameristar.
Got it. Well, I'm going to ask you to hang on for a second. We've got a break coming up. And when we come back, I want to talk to you about not only the event itself, but also the fact that you're going to be at the Texas County Lincoln Day event this week coming
this
up.
Saturday.
So
yes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Hang on one second. We'll chat about that in a moment. Folks, we're speaking with Sheriff Richard Mack this morning. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to America's Voice Now.
If you're looking for a new or used pistol, shotgun, or rifle, West Plains Pawn & Gun has over 450 firearms in stock. All your favorite models like Beretta, Glock, Smith & Wesson, Kimber, and many, many more. West Plains Pawn & Gun is also a Class 3 arms dealer, so if they don't have it on the shelf, West Plains Pawn & Gun can order it for you. Even those hard-to-get guns. West Plains Pawn & Gun, 1713 U.S. Highway 160 West in West Plains, or online at westplainspawn.com.
Last time on the Dennis Miller Show.
Tebow cut yesterday, and I don't live in dream world, but you don't live in dream world if you tell me you didn't win. You won his ass off. Teebs, admire you immensely, my friend, and wish you, I don't know what will happen in the league, but I wish you the best. And you're a fine man. You're somebody that I would point at.
And you can catch Dennis Miller weekday mornings 9 to noon. Dennis Miller on the Ozarks' best news talk, 107.1 The Point.
All right, we are joined again this morning by Sheriff Richard Mack. Sheriff Mack is kind of a well-known figure in the international and national law enforcement community. He is the author of a number of books. You can find more information about him by going to the website, which is CSPOA.org. That stands for Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association.org. And this is an outstanding organization that really not only supports our local law enforcement and our county sheriffs, but also educates them about what their responsibilities and capabilities are as a county sheriff and how important their role is. Since a county sheriff is the most important law officer in every given county, they are the chief law enforcement officer. And it's up to those folks to, number one, know what their rights and their privileges are as the chief law enforcement officer, but also to understand their duties and their responsibilities, and then to act accordingly, so that when there are things going wrong in their county, they have the knowledge, the experience, and the wisdom to step up and say, "Not today." So,
in fact, saying not in my county. As long as I'm sheriff, I'm going to enforce the Bill of Rights. I'm not going to allow people's rights to be trampled upon by other government. You know, and right now we have over 450 sheriffs, and yes, definitely some from Missouri, who have told the Barack Obama administration and others, we're not going to allow you to confiscate guns here. We're not going to enforce gun control here. And now the White House is, and Eric Holder are tripping over themselves to try to find a way to put sheriffs in their place.
Right.
Thing of it is, they can't.
What I found astounding was their threat to actually have the Secret Service go in and arrest sheriffs in Colorado for doing their constitutional duty. When I heard that, I thought to myself, you want to talk about a federal overreach.
Oh, no kidding.
At what point does the Secret Service have law enforcement capabilities and authority under any constitutional review within an independent state?
Ask the Secret Service, and they'll say, oh, no way. We're not doing that. It's just a political move by politicians. They didn't ask the Secret Service about it.
I'll bet they didn't.
No.
That's kind of like the threat of, like, if you keep bothering me, I'm going to tell my big brother to come over here and beat you up.
And the big brother knows nothing about it.
Exactly.
Doesn't want to do it. So, hey, but another thing with that, why don't if we're going to start enforcing or arresting people who don't enforce the law, Wouldn't you love to start that in Washington, D.C.?
I'd love to start that with Eric Holder.
Oh, my goodness,
Eric,
yes.
the traitor Holder? Yeah, that guy.
How about enforcing immigration laws, Eric Holder? Or how about Fast and Furious sending guns down to Mexico, you know?
Exactly. And then we might move on to somebody like Secretary of State or ex-Secretary of State Hillary Clinton for the Benghazi boondoggle. And then we might move right on to the presidency for a guy who has undermined immigration law, barred his own officers, which he is by law required to execute the law properly, from actually executing that law, and that would be a good start.
I mean, if they want to open that door, tell them to go right ahead, and we'll start in Washington. Put just about 98% of them all in jail.
Sure. What was that phrase from the Bible, that before you point out the splinter in your neighbor's eye, you should look at the log in your own?
Yeah.
So absolutely, I'm in full agreement with you. Honestly, I think Eric Holder should be removed from office based upon the simple fact that he now has criminal and civil charges against him through Congress for that's unacceptable.
Well, they're starting Benghazi hearings today, so maybe that'll do some of this. I certainly hope so. But they had in 1997 they had IRS hearings and IRS employees. Jennifer Long being one from Florida, testify about the criminal activity within the IRS. Do you know what Congress ultimately did after they proved, without any shadow of a doubt, that IRS employees fabricate evidence against American citizens? The response from Congress was to simply open office. They asked the IRS to open offices on Saturday and to be more user-friendly. Serious. So I don't really look for anything coming from Congress that really has a lot of teeth to it. These people just don't do it to each other. Even the Republicans going after Democrats, they just usually don't do it because they're, I think, are so afraid that the Democrats will do it right back to them.
Sure.
And so how they take care of each other there is amazing, especially how they keep making sure they all get their raises and their big salaries and pensions.
Right. Oh, and by the way, they just repealed the law that bars them from doing what tons and tons of men and women are in federal prison for, insider trading. Right.
Yep.
I mean, how can you exempt yourself from a law like insider trading that has literally thousands of men and women sitting in federal prison for the same exact offense?
Sent Martha Stewart to prison for.
Yeah.
The very exact same thing.
And the guy who ran the company who gave her the tip.
Yeah.
So. I hear you. It's
so we've got a lot of work to do, and this brings us right back to why we exist, because we believe that there should be defenses against this corruption.
Sure.
And if somebody wants to argue that, no, there should not be defenses against the corruption of Washington, D.C.?
Right.
Are you kidding? Of course there should be. Come on.
I have to wonder if our founders were actually alive today and they were to take, like a month-long study of just what's going on and just, if nothing else, just capture news headlines, right? And do a quick review of where we stand politically in our nation. They would be either so appalled they would beg to go back to their time, or they would take up arms and begin the new revolution themselves. I mean, I can't imagine that they would find an alternative in between.
They would say, "What in the world have you people been waiting for? What are you doing? Why?"
Yeah.
And the first thing they would ask is, "Why do you keep re-electing all these crooks?" That's the first thing they would say.
Exactly. But I also think that they would sit there and look at the tyranny that is fostered upon us every single day and say that this far exceeds anything that we put up with under King George.
Oh yeah, yeah, they would.
I mean, you folks have given up the republic, as Ben Franklin said. It's a republic, but only if you can keep it. Yeah. And
we haven't been very good keepers.
We've been very, very poor husbands of that honor and that duty. Right. So, hey, this upcoming event that you've got at Ameristar Hotel, St. Charles, Missouri, begins on May 31st. It's free to all public officials. So, for our listenership, your county sheriff should be attending this. There's no charge for him to attend it except for his transportation and the hotel.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to encourage is that you folks provide your local community sheriff, and you know, somebody's going to have to be the guy who stands up in the beginning and says, I'm going to be able to kick off a fund here to make sure that we've collected the few $100s or whatever it takes to get our sheriff into that facility, get him and perhaps his wife or maybe a chief deputy or somebody else the opportunity to attend this convention and hear exactly what's going on, understand their rights, their roles, their responsibilities. And I'm calling on somebody in every county that listens to this program to be the leader of your community. Be the one person who stands up and says, today we're going to do something that we can all participate and take an action for. And I'm telling you this, it will pay you off in spades for your $5 or your $10 donation to get your sheriff up there and your chief deputy and maybe your prosecutor or your county attorney or whatever the case may be. It will pay off in spades because that person, whether it's an attorney or a law enforcement representative, will end up coming back here with an entirely new attitude and view and look upon not only what our foundational principles are, but their duties and responsibilities under it. So I'm asking for every one of our folks to participate and do this, and I can help facilitate it. Do you have a way, Sheriff Mack, that these folks can do this under the CS? In other words, if they wanted to make a donation but dedicate it or designate it to a specific individual, is
Two
there
different ways. If they go to CSPOA.org, now that's CSPOA.org, you can make a donation there. When you make the donation online, you don't need your own PayPal account. You can just go to ours and do a credit card donation.
Okay.
And then in the notes of it, just say this is for Sheriff Cole from Missouri, or this is for Sheriff Kyle, or this is for Sheriff Harrison, or this is for Sheriff Smith, or whoever.
I got you.
Or this is for County Commissioner Jones, or whatever, and just put it on there right there. Or don't be afraid to email us or me. My email is sheriffmack@hotmail.com. sheriffmack@hotmail.com. Email me and say, hey, I just made a donation today. It was for Sheriff Jones, and put it on there. We already have several chiefs of police and sheriffs attending from Missouri, but it's not nearly enough. And again, the public is welcome. We'd love for you to call your sheriff and say, hey, we really hope you're going. We're going, and we hope we see you there. Do it to your favorite cop, your favorite brother who's a police officer, or anyone else in public service anywhere in Missouri or anywhere in the country. We have people coming from Washington State. We have people coming from Florida. We have people coming from North Carolina. Please get involved in this. This cannot happen. And let me reiterate something. This is the solution that all of your listeners and that you and I have been fighting for decades. This is a peaceful solution. It is an effective solution for taking back our country. I'm asking each of you to get involved in it. Let's not be so addicted to finding out the latest horrible thing and the shock and awe of what's going on in the corruption of Washington, D.C. Okay, we all know that. What are we going to do about it? We are doing something about it. It is a constitutional, lawful, effective solution. We're asking you to be a part of it. So, yes, we need your donations, and we need you to get involved in this. It won't happen if we don't get we the people involved.
Absolutely. And, you know, this goes exactly to the argument that, well, I'm only one person. I can't, you know, what is what can I do? Well, here's what you can do. You can go to your local county, to your city prosecutor or your county prosecutor or your county judge or your sheriff or any police officer in your community or your city or your town, and you can say, I want to make sure that you're going to go to this.
Yes.
And you can,
there you are. There's the plan.
There's the plan right there. And, you know, listen, all we need to do is educate them. And, you know, I hear police officers all the time, and I've talked to many of them, and, you know, a good many of them will say, well, you know, if they ever kind of come and try to take guns, you know, that I'm not going to follow that order. I've also heard many of them say, I'm obligated to follow orders. Those are the folks that need to actually attend something like this so that they understand and recognize that their responsibility and their duty is first and foremost to the Constitution and the people of the United States or their community or their city or their county, not to some lawmaker in Washington who can pass a law that is as tyrannical as the sun is bright, but calls it law. I mean, just because they say it's so doesn't make it so, folks.
That's right. And how about this? How about this myth that no matter what law the legislatures pass, the sheriff has to enforce it?
Yeah.
That's an absolute myth. Does the sheriff possess the authority and the power and the prerogative to tell legislatures, I am not going to enforce that law?
Right. They have the right to nullify law because they are the sheriff and the chief law enforcement officer in that particular given marketplace. So you're absolutely correct. When we come back, I'd like to talk about this upcoming event that you've got going on over in Texas County, the Lincoln Day event. If we can just touch on that, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I want to.
Okay, folks, we're speaking this morning with Sheriff Richard Mack. He is the kind of well-known author. He is a speaker, a constitutional sheriff, and the founder of Constitutional Sheriff and Peace Officers Association. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to America's Voice Now.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. In the case of 3 women held captive for about a decade, Cleveland police denying reports there were multiple calls of suspicious activity and the mistreatment of women. Authorities saying their records show 2 calls made, one a police visit in an unrelated investigation, the other about a fight outside his home made by suspect Ariel Castro.
There are several other properties that they are interested in, and as well, we know the other 2 Castro brothers, O'Neill and Pedro, they also had homes in the area. Authorities will certainly be interested in looking into those.
Fox's Garrett Tunney in Cleveland.
The amount of evidence that police are going to be gathering, it's not going to be a quick process. There's so much there that they want to go through to make sure they have a full case to bring forth against them.
And a House panel hearing today on the attack on our diplomatic mission in Benghazi, Libya, which killed Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Thanks to Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop for sponsoring our phone lines. You can call our Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline, and you can get over there and get yourself a shave and a haircut. 2 bits. Well, a little bit more than 2 bits. Thanks to our friends over at Pizza Hut as well. On Porter Wagoner Boulevard, they have an outstanding lunch special, and on Tuesday nights, they have Kids Eat Free. Children under 12 eat for free. They're on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. Make sure you visit Pizza Hut. Our friends at the Battery Station, 303 Washington Avenue at batterystation.com. You can also reach them via telephone at 257-7799. Folks over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. Kenny's a friend of ours and a great supporter of our program. 417-256-3000, located about a mile and a half on Route 160 past Walmart. You can reach him also on the web at westplainspawn.com. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Half-mile east of Walmart at Route 62 in Mountain Home. You can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. And you can call them at 870-492-4030. My friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, the best damn bakery in 100 miles. She can be reached at 417-255-2253. You can also find her at number 2 Evans Arcade. Outstanding bakery. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 2930116. Whether remodeling, building new, or doing some kind of custom construction, light commercial or farm work, Bill's the guy for you. 2930116.
If you're looking for great deals on iPads or Kindles, look no further than your neighborhood Radio Shack authorized sales center. They've got great deals on the latest iPads and Kindles. Maybe you need a new GPS or an MP3 player to get your music library ready for those barbecues. Whatever your electronic needs, stop by your local neighborhood Radio Shack authorized dealer in West Plains at 1408 Southern Hills Shopping Center or call 417-256-1819.
Weather is a service of News Talk 1071 The Point. Contact Josh or Cody at 255-2548 for more information on making weather sponsorships part of your marketing plans.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we'll have partly cloudy skies, mostly sunny through the day, just a slight chance for an afternoon thunderstorm, the high temperature 80 degrees. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight with a stray thunderstorm, low 54. Tomorrow, cloud, sun, a couple of thunderstorms, high 76, thunderstorms Friday. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi. For more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Having difficulty with your computer? Do you think it has a mind of its own? Well, don't be alarmed. This happens to everyone at some point in time. Worry no more. Computer Dave and Kyle can help you out with PC Geeks, a weekly show right here on 107.1 The Point. Tune in Thursdays at 1 o'clock to ask computer-related questions and listen to the web topic of the week. That's PC Geeks here on 107.1 The Point.
All right, we are returning. Our guest this morning is Sheriff Richard Mack. For those of you who are not familiar, Sheriff Mack is a paragon of the constitutional peace officers and sheriffs movement. He is the founder of Constitutional Peace Officers Association, and Sheriff and Peace Officers Association, excuse me. Correct. His website is at CSPOA.org. That's C like Charlie, S like Sierra. I've just lost my train of thought here. I'm sorry.
P as in Paul.
P as in Papa, O as in Oscar, A as in Alpha. Sorry. I just, too many things happening at once here.
CSPOA, and yes, thank you.
.org.
.org. And
now,
you can get information there for, if you want to, some people don't like to use credit cards. That's fine. I don't either. And
sure.
I just do not get PayPal involved in it. However, so to do a check or send cash or gold or silver, we've had people do all three.
Really?
Yes, and we love it. So, yes, if you want to send real money, I know people collect silver, and you send 2 pieces of silver, send one, and donate it to your sheriff or to someone else to attend, or just donate it overall so that we can help pay the expenses of this whole thing. I mean, this whole thing is going to run about $65,000, $75,000, and the way we make it all happen is just from donations from people like your listeners. So we'd love to have you help out, but if you want to just make a donation and send some a check or money order or gold or silver, make it to CSPOA, and then the address is P.O. Box 567. Doesn't get simpler than that. CSPOA, P.O. Box 567. The town is Higley, 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 Arizona, 85236. 85236.
Gotcha. I'll give that out on our Facebook page and our website and our Tea Party page and all the rest of that. Sure.
All right.
By the way, this discussion this morning will be posted up on YouTube. I'll send you a link afterwards.
All right. And I wanted to say something about your website, America's Voice Now. You said something in there that I've been saying all across the country at the speaking engagements I do, and the same one. I've been doing a lot of Lincoln Day dinners for the Republicans, and I guess they've really got some staunch Republicans standing up all across the country now, and I'm grateful to see that they're really putting the Constitution first. And your website says something that I want to make very clear to every one of your listeners, and that is this, that gun control in America is against the law.
Yeah.
Okay? You can slice it, and you can buy into any of the propaganda and try to buy into any of the statistical analyses that they throw out there. It is still against the law.
All gun control, period.
All gun control.
Right.
You might have a legal and lawful argument to try to keep guns away from those who have misused guns.
Sure. As a violent felon, who's robbed a bank, beat an old lady over the head with it, I get that.
Trying to keep a gun away from, but they can't even do that. They're even having a parole officer or probation officer follow you around. They still can't keep guns away from those guys.
Sure.
How are you going to keep them away from law-abiding Americans? And the laws that they are proposing, let me make this very clear also. Besides gun control being against the law, the laws they are proposing are not going after criminals or keeping criminals from getting guns. They are going after law-abiding Americans, and let's just be realistic about that.
True.
The truth of the matter is the gun control they are proposing is aimed at you and me.
Well, I mean, look, we don't have to even go for a long, type of philosophical stretch for this.
No.
Drugs are illegal. Has that seemed to even have any relation in slowing them down? No.
It's made it worse.
Anytime you've got beatings are illegal, but yet they happen every day. Robbery is illegal. Burglary is illegal. None of these things have been slowed down by laws against them. And so, law is intended to be a deterrent, right? And also to act as a buffer or a corral, if you will, of what is acceptable and what's allowable. We also know that by the simple phrase that shall not be infringed, that means that no law can be passed which impinges or infringes upon that right. Right. You cannot trespass on it. You cannot affect it. You cannot minimize it. There's just no aspect of the word shall not be infringed that allows any movement on that foundational pillar of freedom.
The irony of shall not be infringed is that when the Founding Fathers developed the Bill of Rights, they said this bill is the Declaration of Rights that government cannot change, alter, infringe upon. And the one specifically, they said, we've got to use very strong language here. So they said this one shall not be infringed is the most infringed of all of them.
Yep, and you want to know something? That's the only time in the entire Constitution that they put a declaration in there that says shall not. They don't even say that on the 1st. Right. They don't say it on the 5th. They don't say it on the 7th. They don't say it on the 8th, the 10th. They say shall not be infringed in only one aspect, and that is the Second Amendment.
And so, of course, it's the most infringed of all of them.
Of course. Yeah. Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law. Well, when you're dealing with politicians, what I call polymagicians in my book, The Magic of Gun Control. Polymagicians.
That's a good one. I love that. So you're going to be at Texas County Lincoln Day in Licking High School this weekend on Saturday at 5 p.m. And that is for the Texas County Lincoln Day event. You're going to be the speaker there. Yeah. I would encourage our folks, if there's any way that you can get up to Licking, it's going to be held at the high school in Licking, and Licking is not that big as most of our folks know. So if there's any way possible that you can get up there, I would strongly encourage you to get to the Texas County Lincoln Day event in Licking, where the Sheriff Mack will be the speaker there, and that's on Saturday evening at 5 p.m. So please make it your business to put that on your calendar and attend if at all possible. Also, if there's any way that any of you can make it on an individual basis to the May 31st through June 1st convention in St. Charles, I would strongly encourage you to bring a friend, a significant other. You know what? Let's find someone that we can bring with us, since it's an extra $50 to get them in. Let's invest in our own community. Let's find someone who is a naysayer. Let's find somebody who's on the fence and bring them with you, because that way now you're actually bringing someone. I mean, we don't always just want to be singing to the choir, right? We want to go after the unwashed masses who aren't believers.
We want people standing on the fence about the Constitution. We want people we want the choir there to strengthen them, and anybody attending will be strengthened in their resolve about saving America.
Sure.
No question.
But if you've got somebody who in your community or in your circle of influence or your friends or your family who is of that opinion that, police have to do what they're ordered to do and all of those kinds of, bring that person, because that person's eyes will be awakened and opened. And, I use this analogy all the time. You know what? Somebody somewhere got to a guy named Billy Graham, and look how many lives he changed. You never know who your influence affects, and you never know who you reach to inspire that person to go out and do great things.
Right.
And so, the idea of bringing someone who is really not quite convinced of the value of the Constitution and its basis, that's the kind of person that you want to bring with you.
Well, yeah, and not only that, it has already happened, because the reason we're having this one in Missouri is because a chief of police, some sheriffs asked for this too, but a chief of police by the name of Larry Kirk from Missouri, from the St. Charles area.
Yep.
I can't remember the town. Is it Old Monroe or anyway?
I don't know the name of the town either.
Anyway, he's the chief of police there. He called us about 3 months ago, and he said, "I want to do whatever it takes to help you have a convention here in Missouri." And I said, "Great, you're on the committee." And
you're the only member right now, but we're building it.
No. We've had some backup for him, but he's on our committee. He has made this happen with us, and he found us a location to have it there in St. Charles, and we're moving forward. And because of the leadership of one man, we're having this convention in Missouri. And yes, that one man is Chief of Police Larry Kirk.
Wow, outstanding. I mean, folks, you want to talk about, well, I'm only one person, what can I do? There's a perfect example. You know, one guy had the initiative to pick up the telephone and call Sheriff Mack and say, I want this to happen in my community so that our local police officers and our local sheriffs can come. You know, I know that the last convention you had, I think, was in Vegas, right? And, you know, one of the things that I've heard from sheriffs over and over and over again is, well, there's nothing in my budget that allows me to go there. Well, you know what? This eliminates that. One, there's no charge for him or her to attend. Number two, you as a community of listeners have an opportunity to sit here and you know, pull your pennies together and literally cover their costs of attendance, which would be their transportation and their hotel bill. And you can do that to make it even easier by just simply going to CSPOA.org and donating some money, putting in there in the subject line that this is for sheriff or police officer so-and-so, and they'll make sure that that money is dedicated towards covering their transportation and or their hotel bill.
We've already had about 10 sign up that have done that with citizens who've already donated.
Outstanding. Yeah. All right, I'm going to make sure I put that link up on our website, too. We've got one more break we've got to take, and then I'm going to give you the floor to make a couple of final appeals and comments about your thoughts on these issues. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. We're speaking with Sheriff Richard Mack, the founder of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, and you can find their website at CSPOA.org. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to America's Voice Now.
See Branson's most incredible shows at RFD TV, The Theater. Hi, I'm Barry Williams. Come celebrate with the great sounds of the 70s in my brand new $1 million production, 70s Music Celebration. Featuring Branson's best live band, a terrific cast of singers and dancers, and, well, me, Barry Williams. 70s Music Celebration, Branson's hippest new variety show. Also, wake up to toe-tapping traditional country music mornings with Buck Trent. And don't miss the final chance to see Roy Rogers Jr. and the High Riders for an afternoon of classic cowboy and western music. During the summer months, see awesome street tap, powerful rock music, explosive rhythms, and hysterical comedy with a multi-talented cast of Jerk. And of course, Branson's most popular show year after year, The Haygoods. The best shows in Branson are at RFD TV, The Theater. For more information or to order tickets online, go to rfdtvthetheater.com.
The area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry. Top-of-the-line handguns from Kimber, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Glock, Beretta, and many more. A wide selection of ammunition, including blanks, centerfire handgun and rifle, rimfire, a variety of shotgun shells, target, and turkey. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
SAH Printing at 204 Porter Wagner Boulevard is the best place to get your custom screen-printed t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hats for the spring and summer sports seasons. Whether it's baseball, softball, or soccer, whether you're a Zizzer, Hornet, Panther, or Rocket, let SAH Printing make sure your t-shirt game is up to par. Just stop by 204 Porter Wagner Boulevard in West Plains or call 417-257-1642.
All right, we are returning. Thank you for sticking with us through the capitalistic moments, and we appreciate your listening this morning. We are speaking with Sheriff Richard Mack, the founder and of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. They're going to be holding their convention this year right here in St. Charles, Missouri, May 31st through June 1. It is free to all public officials. If you are a public official of any stripe, color, or nature, please make sure that you are registering on their website to attend this event. You can go to the website at CSPOA.org, and you can register yourself for this event. If you are in the community and you would like to sponsor a particular individual, either a sheriff or a law enforcement officer or a county or city official who is a public official, you can do so, and you can cover their costs for transportation and lodging by simply donating to the CSPOA and putting in the subject line, this is a donation to cover the travel and lodging for Joe Smith or whoever your particular person is. I strongly encourage you to play an active role in making sure that we do what we what we talk about every day, right? Our mantra is to educate, inform, to motivate, and to activate. Well, this is educational. It's informational. You are motivating your sheriff, and you are activating yourself to make sure that that person, whether they're a sheriff or a police officer or any public official, is participating in this and getting educated and informed about their duties and responsibilities and the rights and the power that they hold as public servants. So one quick comment I want to make before I give Sheriff Mack the floor, and that is that if you're intending to go to the Lincoln Day event at Licking at 5 p.m. On Saturday evening, you need to call ahead and get tickets. I understand they're running very short of tickets. These are $25, I think, per head, and it's for a dinner. You can call this number, 573-201-7057. That's 573-201-7057. And make sure that you get your tickets now because I understand they're running very short. So, okay, Sheriff Mack, I wanted to just kind of open up the floor to let you kind of cover whatever you thought was appropriate for you for this particular time in our discussion.
Well, this particular time in American history, it's really hard not to be a little bit pensive about where we've gone from 1776 to today, the 235 years that America has been in existence, and where do we turn for solutions to what's going on? Is there a way to stop the tyranny of Washington, D.C.? And I'm telling you, there is a way to make what's going on in Washington irrelevant. I don't care if it's the IRS, taxation, the national debt, the United Nations, Agenda 21, stopping the tyranny of the NDAA, drone strikes, whatever. There is a way to turn this around. And we do this county by county, sheriff by sheriff, and state by state.
Yep. And by civil and lawful disobedience to unconstitutional laws.
Absolutely.
We have the right to be civilly disobedient, you know.
But imagine if you're having that civil disobedience with the sheriff's support.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. I mean, how about the ability to sit down and say, we're not leaving here, right? And
right.
Having your sheriff and a phalanx of his, deputies and or a posse, citizen posse around you saying, and by the way, we agree with them. They can sit here as long as they like, but they don't have to leave.
Not only that, they're not leaving. You are.
Right, exactly. You know, I proposed a thing called 90 Days That Will Change the World back about a month ago, and basically I'm calling for a complete civil disobedience of put the gears and seize them. Seize them by stopping the money flow and just literally going to Washington and our state capitals and saying, look, we're not going to leave until you do. Because I'm afraid that we're at the point where there is almost no more opportunity for a political solution.
And you touched on another thing. We've got to stop sending the money to such a corrupt place as Washington, D.C.
Well, you know, we're feeding the beast, and then the beast turns around and blows flame all over us, and we wonder, well, where did he get all that extra energy to blow that flame? Yeah. Well, you know, you just fed him.
Exactly.
So our job as citizenry is to take a stand, know what we're standing for, know how and why we've accomplished that or gotten that opinion and that firm conviction and belief, and then stand on it, hard and firm.
Right.
And, you know, when I hear people say, oh, you know, if I do that, they'll take my house or my car, or it'll injure my credit, I'm thinking to myself, you know, our founding fathers lost their farms and their homes and their children in battle, and they were beaten and burned out, and you're worried about a ding on the credit report. I mean,
we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our
sacred honor. And how dare we do any less?
We must do the same.
Absolutely.
And no one's asking for your fortune. At least right now, we're not. Nobody is.
Well, actually, the only one who is the one we're trying to stop. They're asking for your fortune. They want to seize it and milk it from you one step at a time. And then at some point, you know, they will literally come down and squeeze the stone to make sure that they get the last drop. They're trying that with, you know, every aspect. I mean, the new internet tax. How many more ways can we give you that we get to stiff you one more time fee? You know?
Yeah, it's exactly that. And so right now, this whole show today has been, and what we're doing at CSPOA.org, what we're doing is about in the doing. The solution is not if we move forward. The solution is behind us. Mm-hmm. We must return to those basic fundamental principles of our Constitution and of American idealism. If we do, we win. If we don't and we do nothing, then we are the problem.
I absolutely agree with you. Well, listen, I want to thank you so very much for joining with us this morning. And every time you come on our show, we get a ton of listeners who just, I get all kinds of feedback and positive emails about it. And you're a refreshing voice in a world where we constantly hear the opposite from our leadership. And as a leader in the law enforcement community, you're a refreshing breath of air. Fresh air that really kind of, I think, helps to give those of us who are out here and we're so worried and we're so concerned about where our nation is heading, and you give us hope and you give us faith to continue the fight. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you too, and again, everybody, do something. You've got homework. You've got a homework assignment. Get your sheriff or public official there and get yourself there. Donations at CSPOA.org.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. All right.
Have a wonderful day.
See you soon.
Folks, that was Sheriff Richard Mack. You've heard him on the show before. He is a friend of mine and a friend of this program and a sincere patriot. And I'm grateful and thankful that there's a guy like him who stands up. You've heard me say before, there are very few people in this nation right now, in the public visage, that you would stand up and say, that's a guy who I would put my faith in. That's a guy who I would fight for. That's a guy who I trust. That's a person who I feel like I can actually get behind. This is one of those guys. This is the kind of guy who was one of our founding fathers. This is the kind of guy who literally stands up and says, regardless of the cost, to myself, to my community, to my business, I'm going to do the right thing. Regardless of whether I am going to be personally affronted by that, regardless of what my cost is to myself financially, I'm going to do the right thing for the nation. There's very, very few men and women out there who are in a position of influence in a public eye that have the capability of us looking at that person and saying, yep, that's somebody who I would put my faith in. And so if there's any way that you can attend this event at Licking, please make sure that you do so. It's the Texas County Lincoln Day event. It's going to be held at the Licking High School. It's at Saturday at 5 p.m. There's a dinner associated with it, and then there'll be some speeches, and Sheriff Mack will be attending that, and he'll be a speaker there. If you need tickets, you can get them by calling 573-201-7057. That's 573-201-7057. 7057. Tickets are $25, and it includes the dinner and the event. If you are capable of getting to St. Charles on May 31st through June 1st, I would strongly encourage you to do that as well. If you cannot attend yourself or you would like to sponsor a public official, their admission is free. What you can do to help them and encourage them to go is make sure that their transportation and their lodging costs are covered. And so you can do that by going to CSPOA.org, and you can simply donate on that website, and you can designate who that funding is to be used for. What they will do is they will cover the transportation and the lodging for that particular public official. So if you want to sponsor your local city police chief or you want to sponsor a local police officer, they'll make sure that that person's transportation and lodging are covered with that donation, or whatever portion it covers. And I don't know what the cost of the hotel rooms are up there. It's being held at the Ameristar Hotel in St. Charles, Missouri. And again, it's free. The admission is free for the public official. So, there's no cost for that. If you want to attend, it's $150 per person or $200 for a couple. And if you would like to, bring yourself and maybe a person who is, is questioning where we stand in all of this, where their loyalties and responsibilities and duties sit, this is a perfect opportunity for you to say to a friend or a buddy or someone that you have influence and connection and a life with. You can say to them, you know what, I've got an opportunity for us to go and hear from the mouths of those folks that are really involved in our nation and these are folks that are going to be sheriffs and lawyers and constitutional scholars that are going to be the speakers there. So I promise you this, they'll walk out of there with a newfound understanding and respect for our Constitution, their role and responsibility and duty under it, and I guarantee you that anyone who attends this event will walk out of there blessed. You're listening to America's Voice Now. Please join us every day, Monday through Friday. You can find us here on the web at americasvoicenow.org. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. You can find this and every other show on YouTube at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. I thank you for listening with us this morning. Thanks for joining us with Sheriff Mack. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have John McManus. He is the publisher and the founder of the John Birch Society, and he'll be joining us tomorrow to speak with us as well.
We are the Ozarks' best news talk, KBMV Birch Tree.